Pooja Soares. Today, on this occasion of Republic Day, we at Mentoring Angels would like to wish you all a very happy Republic Day. Today in this session, we are going to speak about the IELTS Speaking section, especially focusing on the historic sections. If you get the topics related to history, well, many candidates panic when they get a topic related to history. It can be a topic related to historical event or a historic city which you know. It can also a topic related to a leader or a political leader whom you know very well. Well, there's nothing to worry about if you know these few facts, how to handle this topic. Well, the IELTS Speaking has got 3 sections in it. We call it as Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3. The overall time for IELTS Speaking is anywhere between 11 to 14 minutes. So let's start with Part 1. The first part is your introduction. It's like an icebreaker. You're meeting the moderator for the first time. So there'll be exchange of names, then they'll be verifying your identity by asking you your passport, the copy of a passport maybe, and also after that they'll be asking you a few questions related to your work, your home or the place where you stay. There could be other set of questions related to anything which is a very normal or regular item in your life. It can be related to a dictionary, maybe the car which you used, or maybe related to a mirror, sunshine or anything under the sun. What happens in this Part 1 is they are trying to understand if you can answer these simple questions which are related to you and your daily life. What happens in Part 2 is a cue card. In a cue card, there's a topic given to you with no choice. You have to answer this question and there are some questions to this topic. And that's where a question like history can be asked to you. You have to prepare for a minute, and that minute is probably something which is not enough to prepare in that moment. And hence it is important that you pre-prepare. That means you prepare before the exam for the set of questions and go there with a mindset that you can handle any question asked you. After a minute of preparation, you have to speak for at least 2 minutes of time. When they say 1 to 2 minutes of time, don't stop after a minute's time. How will you understand that a minute is over? You won't understand. It's just by mere practice you can gauge what is a minute or 2 minutes of talk. But in the examination, if you're talking less, they'll indicate you by saying, that means they're not literally saying a word, but by indicating by hand that you have to speak more. Or if you're done with the time and if you're still speaking, they'll indicate, that means stop. Let's understand what happens in Part 3. Part 2 and 3 are connected to each other. That means the question types are connected. If the main theme of Part 2 was history, the main theme of Part 3 will be also history. Something related to the historical aspect. Not necessarily they are checking your historical knowledge, but they are asking you to compare things. If the theme of the Part 2 is restaurant, they'll ask you to speak about restaurant, food, manufacturing, production of food in Part 3. Now these questions are mostly opinion-based structures. They are not related to you necessarily. So they're not asking necessarily what you like or dislike about it, but your opinion or your perspectives about the topic. So sometimes the questions are related to understanding what you think about people's objectives or people's perspectives or their opinions about the topic, not your opinion. So that was the quick understanding of speaking, where it is divided into 3 sections. In this session, we are going to focus especially on Part 2, which is the most challenging part or section for many students. Today we are going to focus on topics which are difficult to handle. And one of the topics would be history. Yes, many candidates are scared of history because they have forgotten history. They have forgotten the chapters and the events in history. And the question which is directed towards history will be mostly a topic related to the event in history or the event in history of your country specifically, which is the most memorable event or a remarkable event. It can be also under the topic related to a historic city of your country or any part of the world. How to handle these questions when you've forgotten history? Well, the first thing which you should remember is do not panic. When you get any question, remember they are checking your knowledge of English, not your knowledge of the subject. So if you don't remember the facts and figures of history, don't worry. Don't even bother to stress on finding the numbers and the years and the names of the emperors to really fit in the bill. It's important that you speak English in the next 2 minutes when you get the topic. So how do we handle this topic? Well, the first thing is that history doesn't mean necessarily 20 years back. A history is a time which has gone, the time which has passed. That means you can talk about anything which was just last year, or it can be 5 years, a decade back, a century back, or centuries back. Secondly, history is not necessarily related to your country, it can be of any country, unless they ask you specifically if the history is related to your country. So focus on the question and understand the scope of the question. If the history is something which is scaring you, is dreadful for you, try to remember history from any of the movies. There are so many movies which are based on the history of certain countries, certain wars. As simple as Lagan, which is a Hindi movie in India. There are many movies which are based on the characters in history. For example, the latest one which you can think of would be Tanaji. If you observe certain characteristics and certain names, even if you remember just by mere reading a newspaper, few aspects of this, it's more than enough. What if you don't remember anything? Well, then you can start off by saying that you're not really fond of history, or you were not really fond of history as a child. You can honestly admit that you've forgotten most of the facts and figures of history, but you'll definitely give it a try. And in that moment, you can really ease yourself that you have already conveyed to the moderator that you're not really fond of it, you don't remember the facts, so you can now really talk with ease and comfort about whatever you know, however you know. For example, the question which is asked to you is about the historical event. There are people who talk about the historical events like the Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar, like the Indian history, the freedom of India, maybe they can talk about the independent India, the 15th August or the 14th midnight. You can talk about the Republic Day, which is today, or else you can go to the world history and you can talk about the World War I and World War II. So primarily when you talk about the historical events, they are looking out for past tense, that how well you can use this past tense. In the past tense, you can use words related to had, was, did, used to, had been. If you use these words, they are more than enough to understand the grammar. So it's not important that you know the facts and figures right, but you know the tenses well and you use them correctly in the right way. Now we'll take one sample to understand how to take notes in a minute's time. If the question is a historical event which you remember from the history, when was it, where was it, and the importance of that day and why you remember that particular day would be some questions which will be asked here. What should you do in a minute's time? A note taking. How should you take notes? The notes should be as crisp as possible, maybe 1 or 2 words for every point. You should try to visualize as if you are answering and then try to note only 1 or 2 words wherein the important words or important clues will be below. Try not to write a long essay because a minute's time will not be enough to write long sentences. And if you try so, you may be able to write only 2 or 3 sentences and the time will be up.
Well, if you look at India's past, it has many events of historic significance, especially during our independence days when innumerable and unforgettable heroes have lost their lives for the freedom of the country. But today being Republic Day, I would like to talk about the same, where this has been an important landmark in the Indian history, where on 26th Jan every year, Indians celebrate the Constitution of India coming into force in 1950, and 70 years back on this day our Indian Constitution became a reality, and thus this particular day got etched in history for eternity. So India, even though was independent from 1947, 15th August 1947, it did not have its constitution of own. It was following the rules and regulations of the Britishers, the rules and regulations which they had laid down before the formation of this constitution. So Post the Indian independence, there was this need of our own rules and regulations for this independent India, and that's where a committee headed by Mr. Babasaheb Ambedkar came into picture. They drafted a basic or the initial, I would say, rules and regulations, and it was finalized over a period of time for 3 years. And when first president of India was elected, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected, this was also passed, and this became a memorable event for everybody, because now then, in the sense, we had a rule book which was specifically designed for the Indians, for the free India. And now, since then, we can say that every year Republic Day is celebrated with great pomp, enthusiasm and glory, where from school children to senior citizens, you can see everyone hoisting the flags at different places to pay the respect to country. So this was one of the most important landmarks, according to me, and for the independent India. Thank you.
Hope this video helps you to understand nuances of speaking. We'd love to hear from you, and for that, feel free to connect with this number given below, which is 7715900084. If you like this video and would like to watch and learn more from such videos, do feel free to share, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow us on the social media pages which are given below. The links are given in the description box.